All right, welcome to the St. Louis Writers Group. Tonight we hear a play by Rita Winters entitled Dead Names Walking. And at this time, if you've not already done so, everybody that's not an actor or involved in the play would mute and disable your video. At the end of the reading, we will have a discussion session when we'll invite you to turn your microphones back on and join us for that. For right now, we turn it over to the actors.
Dead Names Walking by Rita Winters. Characters: Lavinia, a woman north of 75 years, possessed of great spirit and charm, dresses smartly, has a chic hairstyle. Once quite a looker, now suffers from sciatica and other issues. Hortense, her lifelong friend of the same age, possessed of considerable snark, also looks good for her age, but clearly plays second fiddle to Lavinia. And Hortense is played by
Deborah Dennert.
And Lavinia is played by
Gwyneth Rausch.
The bicyclist keeps blowing his horn in odd spurts like a circus clown as he circles the park, alarming and annoying his two friends. We find that he's not in any way who they had assumed him to be. His name is Elmer, and he's played by
Robert Ashton.
The setting: it's a city park, a big wide sidewalk that snakes through it. We see trees and a bench. We hear birds singing in the background. Act 1, Scene 1. As we open, Lavinia and Hortense are taking a walk together. Hortense is pumping her arms. Lavinia has a collapsible cane tucked under her left arm. We hear a very loud bicycle horn beeping incessantly, then pausing and starting up again.
On your left.
Okay, I get it. We're in the way. Give us a chance, you moron.
Hortense, I've been thinking.
Well, Lavinia, that's good. If you think, therefore you are, or something like that. Are you going to tell me what you're thinking about, Lavinia?
My name.
Your name?
My first name, Lavinia.
Well, what about it?
No one has my name anymore. I mean, it used to be very popular. I remember in grade school how I had to be Lavinia S because there was a Lavinia A and a Lavinia O. Now I am the only Lavinia left on the planet. I think it gives away my age.
Yes, it could. Especially if they didn't spot your gray hair first. But, Lavinia S., no one has my name either. I'm the only Hortense I know. Well, one of my neighbors has a horse named Hortense, but that's it. Anyway, Lavinia is a lovely name, much nicer than Hortense.
That's true.
You didn't have to agree that quickly.
I was just teasing you. Remember all the flower names that were so popular when we grew up? Pansy, lily, rose, violet, iris, posy, petunia. I don't hear them anymore. I miss them.
I hear Rose and Violet are coming back with the millennials.
Oh, only in Brooklyn. My granddaughter lives there and she's so condescending about the name thing. Oh, Granny, the names from your generation are in revival. Isn't that sweet? She talks to me like she's my nurse.
Oh, look, Lavinia, isn't that Prudence with Alvin?
So it is. When did they become an item?
You mean a thing? They say thing now.
When did Prudence plus Alvin become a thing?
Oh, it's been about a month, I think. They look at each other all moony-eyed. He drives that motorized scooter like it's a tank, just to impress her. And she wears spike heels while she's on her walker to impress him. Who do they think they're kidding? They're two-step from a tombstone.
You're just jealous.
I guess that's true. I would like someone to moon over me. My Clarence hasn't looked at me like that in years. Hey, Did I tell you what Clarence told me?
He told you what?
Clarence told me that Alvin told Humphrey.
He told Humphrey what?
He told Humphrey he got a hand job from her.
A hand job? My God. I never took Prudence for a slut.
She's not a slut. All she did was hold his damn hand. She must have told him it was a hand job. Clever girl.
I guess if you think you're having sex, you are. I don't think I'm having sex.
You aren't.
No one is even holding my hand.
I'll hold your hand.
Oh, thanks. I have my pride. I mean, even if I can't get a man anymore, I won't call myself a lesbian just to feel better.
Two friends holding hands does not mean they're lesbians.
Are lesbians a thing now?
Actually, yes. They can get married.
Well, I'm happy for them. In 10 years, they'll have a divorce rate as high as the regular marrieds do.
Still bitter over the divorce? You were the one who wanted it.
I'm not bitter. I'm just... Have you seen a bench? My sciatica's really acting up and I'd like to sit down.
Oh, over there, that one. Let's take it before Prudence and Alvin see it and start necking.
Beep, 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 on your left.
And before
Lavinia
that,
and Vincent are startled. They move out of the way.
before that doofus runs us over.
They sit on the park bench.
Oh, that feels better.
Yes, your sciatica feels better. But I haven't forgotten that what we were talking about, your bitter divorce. I still have a good memory.
Hortense, I already told you that I'm not bitter. Dexter and I were married 24 years. He's the father of my children.
But?
There's always a but, isn't there?
So whose butt was it? Someone at the office?
Nobody's but mine. I woke up the morning of my 65th birthday and thought I might not have more than 10 years left. And when I rolled over and looked at Dexter, I knew I did not want to spend those 10 years with him. He wants to live in a small town and fish. I want to visit the Seychelles and Mozambique and Machu Picchu and do all the things I couldn't do when I was working.
You've been divorced for 10 years now, and I don't remember you going to Pikachu or any of those places.
Machu Picchu, not Pikachu. You are spending way too much time with your grandchildren. Anyway, no, I didn't get there. Because after I dumped Dexter, I realized that I did not like traveling alone. You know, I mean, you like to share things like eating gelato in the soft evening light of a Roman piazza, or watching the sun set over the Indian Ocean from a deck chair on a luxury cruise ship. Share them with someone you like.
Well, why didn't you ask me to go with you?
That's not the kind of like I mean.
You want sex. It always gets back to that, doesn't it?
I'm sorry, Hortense. It's just that I miss being touched so much. Not sex, being touched. Not like accidentally being touched when they give you change at the McDonald's drive-thru, or somebody bumps into you going into the UPS store. A loving touch. A hand on the small of my back to guide me through a revolving door. An arm I can take on a stroll. That kind of touch. It's a loving touch.
There, my dear friend. I miss those things too. And I'm still married.
Yeah, I forgot what a cold fish your Clarence is. I guess he's not much better than having nobody.
Well, Clarence is a good listener, though. I'll give him that. That's better than nothing or nobody.
Now I feel bad again. I don't have a toucher or a listener. Honestly, the only time I felt normal was during the pandemic.
What? Nobody felt normal then.
I felt normal because then nobody was getting more than I was.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
I wasn't talking about sex. I was talking about eye contact and hugs. Beautiful young girls were not getting appreciative eye contact. Handsome men were all alone in their apartments. My ex was lonely. He texted me. I was so lonely, I texted back.
Uh-oh. Ex texting is very dangerous. Don't lead him on.
This is not about him. It's about all of us. When everybody's lonely and nobody can kiss or hug, being lonely doesn't feel so bad. It feels normal. We're all lonely together. And that feels good. Well, not good, but not bad either.
That's true. Weird, but true. Listen, I'm short on steps. Are you okay to walk again?
Yeah. I'm ready to get going. I've got a good book and a glass of Pinot pining for me to come home.
They get up. They're back on the wide sidewalk, walking towards the audience.
Beep, beep, beep. On your left.
On your left, on your left. I hope you end up on your ass.
That's not very ladylike, Hortense.
Well, if you're too much of a lady, you could end up dead. How did Hortense die? She was too polite to tell the guy on the bike trying to run her over to get the hell out of the way.
No, Hortense, I am really glad you are still alive, even though your name's dead and nobody except horses have it.
That's so sweet, Lavinia. I like having you around too, even though your name died even before mine.
What is it the prison guards say when some guy is walking to the electric chair?
They yell, "Dead man walking."
A couple of dead names walking. That's us.
Lavinia, if you could change your name to anything you wanted, what would you pick?
Tiffany.
Ooh, that's horrible. If I were you, I'd keep Lavinia.
I think it's very classy, like the jewelry store. What would you pick?
Chloe.
Oh, God. You're a walking cliche. Everybody in the aughts named their kid Chloe.
I like it. It was my favorite perfume.
Maybe we should just keep the names we have.
I guess so. But we could travel. Let's buy a travel guide tomorrow.
To Mozambique?
Yes! I'll tell Clarence I'm visiting our daughter, Madison, in Mobile. That way, if I mess up, he'll just think I'm confused and said another word that starts with M. We could be gone 2 weeks and he'd never even notice.
She takes Lavinia's hand and they skip briefly.
It'll be like when we were young. Another great adventure.
Okay. But let go of my hand. If Alvin sees us, he'll tell Humphrey I gave you a hand job.
Good night, Tiffany.
Good night, Chloe. See you tomorrow.
End of scene. Scene 2. The bicyclist passes them.
On your left. On your left.
Lavinia and Hortense both move to the left instead of the right. The bicycle rider swerves to avoid the two friends on the sidewalk, crashes into a tree right in front of them. He's on the ground, tangled up in the bicycle with a dented helmet.
Oh, damn it.
I saw this coming. Another reckless millennial path hog getting his just desserts.
So mean. I think he's hurt. We should help him.
I suppose we have to.
They scurry over to the bicyclist.
Young man, are you all right?
Are you talking to me?
Do you see any other young men around?
Well, there's a dent in his helmet. Maybe he has a concussion and it's making him confused.
What? A dent?
He pulls off his helmet and looks at it with concern. When he removes the helmet, it reveals a very bald head, but not the fashionable kind. There are wispy gray hairs on the side, and his brow is furrowed.
Oh, you're not a young man.
You're old.
And also in pain?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been cursing your millennial ways every time you whiz by us. But you're not a millennial. You're a perennial.
What's a perennial?
An old man who thinks he's young, no matter how bald or wrinkled he is.
Hortense, that's mean. He's already injured.
It's okay. She's right. But would you help me up?
Hortense and Lavinia try to help him up and almost succeed, but they all end up toppling on each other, laughing as they end up in awkward positions. Hortense is on top of him, looking down on his face. They silently look at each other.
Remember Twister? I was so good at Twister, wasn't I, Hortense? Hortense?
Twister? Oh, yes, Lavinia, you were the best.
Hortense extricates herself from atop the bicyclist, stands up, fluffs her hair nervously, and remains uncharacteristically silent. The bicyclist sets up on his elbows.
Would one of you just give me a hand? Lavinia? Hortense? Boy, I haven't heard those names in years.
She offers him a hand.
Speaking of names, young man, what's yours?
Elmer. Elmer Edward Emerson III.
Elmer. I haven't heard your name in years. Well, there was that cartoon character, Elmer F. something. Elmer.
Fudd.
Yes, Elmer Fudd. That's it. Hortense, remember Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny? They were so funny.
Oh, Lavinia, everyone remembers them, even people who can't remember anything else. But I'm sure Elmer hears about Elmer Fudd all the time.
Every time I introduce myself.
Hortense and I were just talking about our names and how nobody has them anymore. We call ourselves Dead Names Walking. What do you think of that, Elmer?
Catchy. You know, I was a deadhead back in the day.
I bet you have some stories. We'd love to hear them, wouldn't we, Hortense?
Hortense? Would you like to hear my stories too?
Whatever floats your boat, Elmer.
Hortense is always like that. She's the sarcastic one. She just can't bring herself to say that she'd love to have you in our little club.
I'd love to have you, Elmer, in our club.
Your bike is in pretty bad shape, Elmer. Maybe you should consider walking until it gets fixed. Do you want to join us tomorrow afternoon?
I'd be delighted.
4 o'clock. We'll meet at that fountain thing.
See you tomorrow, Lavinia. Looking forward to it, Hortense.
See you then.
Elmer limps off with his bicycle beside him.
Hortense, what's wrong with you? You were so quiet and so rude to Elmer. He's actually rather handsome, don't you think? A potential suitor, I think. An active man, not one of those couch surfers.
Potatoes.
What?
He's not one of those couch potatoes who just sits and watches television all day. A couch surfer is somebody who sleeps on people's couches.
Oh, couch potato, couch surfer. Sounds like the same thing to me. Anyway, You have to help me by making your funny comments and keeping the conversation going.
Oh, like I did with you and Dexter.
Exactly. You were so good at making him laugh, and he enjoyed us so much that when I battered my big baby blues at him, he was a goner.
I remember all that just a little too well.
Too well. What does that mean?
Don't play dumb, Lavinia. You knew I was interested in Dexter.
You were. I thought you were just friends.
I'm not an eye batter like you. Lavinia, I befriend a guy if I'm interested in him, and I hope he starts to feel the same way.
Why didn't you just speak up and tell me, silly?
Tell you what, that I was interested in Dexter? Once you started with that eye batting, there was no way for me to get him to look at me again.
So, you've been thinking about this for 40 years?
Off and on. When you two got divorced, I thought about it. And I thought about it just now, when Elmer came into the picture.
Elmer? What? You're married?
Yes. But Elmer looked so deeply into my eyes and for so long. Something happened back there. It's been a long time since I felt seen by a man and seen and truly appreciated. That's how Elmer made me feel.
I never knew that you were so selfish.
Selfish?
Here you are going on and on about a guy you just met who was probably just staring at you because he had a head injury when you already have a man. You should be thinking about me and about helping me get Elmer interested so that I can have a man too.
I'm going to say goodbye before I say something I regret.
Oh, Hortense, I'm sorry. You'll be here tomorrow, right? I need your help so he doesn't realize I'm reeling him in.
I'll be there.
Thanks, Hortense. You are such a good friend.
End of scene. Scene 3. We're by the fountain in the park. Elmer is waiting without his bike. Hortense approaches. Her hair is loose and over one eye. She's wearing makeup and tight yoga clothes.
You're early.
Didn't want to miss you.
We would have waited for 5 minutes anyway. Lavinia might have waited 10.
Ah, yes, Lavinia, your friend.
You could call her that most of the time.
Hortense, there's something I want to say to you.
Oh, you don't have to say it. I felt it too.
I was just going to say that you have beautiful eyes. Gorgeous. So blue.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm wondering if you would sit for me.
You mean like sit, stay, good dog?
No. I'm a painter, a hobbyist, really. But your eyes are really beautiful, and I would enjoy painting them, and you. But if I paint you, you'll have to sit very still in a chair for a long time. That's what I meant when I asked if you would sit for me.
Let me think about it. Okay, I guess. I mean, yes.
Enter Lavinia. She's sporting fake eyelashes, freshly done hair, and new workout clothes.
Sorry I'm late.
You're always late, Lavinia. Your toilette is complicated.
But the results are worth the wait, aren't they, Elmer?
You look very nice, yes. So does Hortense. But let's get going. I promised my partner I'd be back in an hour. We're looking at a house tonight. He's still working.
Your partner?
Yeah, he and I have been together for a year. After my wife died, I realized I wasn't interested in finding another woman. I was interested in finding a man. It was very freeing to finally admit it to myself and to my kids.
But the way you looked into Hortense's eyes yesterday, she thought you were interested in
Elmer is a painter, Lavinia. He wants to paint me because he likes my eyes.
They have such depth.
Oh, so that's what it was all about. Now it all makes sense. Usually the men we meet stare at me.
Elmer has places to be, Lavinia. Let's get going and get some exercise.
The three set off on their walk. End of scene. Scene 4. Lavinia sits at the edge of the fountain. She's looking a little down and doesn't see Hortense approach.
Lavinia, you're here before me. That's a first. But what's wrong?
I was just thinking that I'm the one who's alone and you're the one who's married, and now you have two men and I'm still alone.
Oh, there. You won't always be alone. What did you say when we were in junior high? Boys are like buses. If you don't catch one, wait 15 minutes and another one will come along.
That was true when we were 14, Hortense, but it's not true anymore. You know what else is dead besides our names?
Chivalry.
Men. Lots of the boys we knew are now dead men. Did you see that list of dead classmates at our high school reunion? 75% of the list was men.
You're right. They're disappearing fast.
That's why you have to be on the lookout for live ones. They aren't like buses anymore. They are a rare commodity. It's terrible. But now even the ugly ones look good to me.
Oh, for God's sake, Lavinia, you're not desperate. You're a beautiful woman, far prettier than I am.
Well, that's true. I'm just kidding, Hortense. Actually, I was always a little jealous of your eyes. No wonder Elmer wants to paint you.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
I should say nice things to you more often. If it wasn't for you, I'd die too, of loneliness and boredom.
Oh, Lavinia, we are good friends since forever.
Yes, and I am ashamed that I tried to ruin your chances with Elmer when I thought he was straight. I told you you were selfish, but really it was me. I'm the one who's selfish.
Yes, that's very true.
Be nice, Hortense.
Jabs Hortense just a little too hard, and Hortense falls back into the fountain. As Lavinia reaches in to grab her and pull her out, she falls in too. Enter Elmer.
And for me too.
No, you'll never come between me and the love of my life again. No man is worth damaging your relationship with your best friend, no matter how lonely a girl might get.
But, Elmer, you can come between us on our daily walks. We like you. So we're making you an official member of Dead Names Walking.
Long live the dead.
Long live the dead. Now help us out of here.
Oh, and find my false eyelashes.
End of play.
Bravo. So we invite you to turn your microphones back on and your cameras so we can see again. And then Rita can hear your applause when your microphone is on. Yay!
Hey.
Thank you.
And so it is time for our discussion now. And, you know, for our Zoom format, what we found to work best is just go ahead and speak up if you've got something to say. Do your best not to try, you know, to try not, I should say, to interrupt another speaker. But don't wait to raise your hand and try to get my attention because it's too difficult to see everyone. So just speak up with your comments. Please do make sure that your comments are made in a professional and a courteous manner. And then we ask that the playwright not speak during the discussion period. So you can you don't want to ask Rita any questions, any direct questions about the script. She can come back and answer all questions at the end. During the discussion, the playwright cannot speak. Instead, she is encouraged to listen to all comments without trying to answer questions or defend the script. While that's difficult, experience has proven that it's the most effective way for the writer to hear all points of view, and we will give Rita the final word. So here is our group of questions. Number one, off the top of your head, in a word or a phrase, a few words or a phrase, what is your immediate reaction to the play, such as it could be needs more work, interesting characters, touching, etc.? Somebody get us rolling.
I enjoyed it. I was kind of disappointed when it ended. I think there could be a lot more made of this.
It was honest and it was real and it had a beautiful, positive human aspect to it.
The word that comes to mind is authentic. It
Yeah.
seemed like those were three very believable characters. And I like the little twists.
Exactly. And
I
it's
enjoyed
got
it.
the universal theme of friendship, and everyone can relate to that. I loved that.
I enjoyed it. It seems to be something that would appeal to women a lot more than to men. It's
Oh, I disagree. Goodness gracious. Yeah. I thought
Bluntly disagree.
I love the relationship that had gone back so far. I mean, these women had known each other forever through all of it, through back when they were, you know, young and adolescent, and then blossoming into these beautiful women, and then having to release that identity. And that, yes, I thought that was really, really, really lovely. I enjoyed that a lot.
Good.
The relationship, yep.
And a little sauciness. I like that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, shall
And
we-
the jealousies that they had from each other all these years. I mean, that's so interesting that is revealed. How old are these women? Like 75?
Well,
Yeah.
actors.
mid-70s.
Yeah, north of 75.
Yeah, north. Yeah. Here was this secret that I was always jealous of your eyes for all those years. And then Dexter, it's so interesting that such a close friendship is still evolving. I loved that. It was really cool.
Well, I think we're already into this discussion, so I'm going to pose the question officially. Is the author's premise clear and effectively developed?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, simple yes on that one. Good. How about the characters? Are they clearly defined and developed? Are they believable? Is there sufficient contrast among the characters?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked the characters a lot. I just thought the conflicts and the strategies that they had to overcome to get to their goal was like a little bit fuzzier or needed more definition. So, and plus, it seems like the material was a little bit light and not really strong enough to hold the audience attention. And I think it needs more plot points. It just seemed to like just, a conversation more than a play.
Well, do you have a good friend that you sit and that you've had for years and years, and that you sit and talk, and it goes around and around of all kinds of topics, and then you come back to this one main topic where you find out your friend was jealous of you? And
Again, as Mario said, it seems a lot more like a conversation than a
Yeah.
play.
But even plays that are conversation have a bit more structure to them, you know?
Mhm.
I can I speak as one of the actors? I didn't
Absolutely.
highlight it. And I know, you know, we actors, we're involved in our parts and we always disagree. But when I read this play, I didn't find it light because from a female point of view, you know, we've all had friends for so long. And it seemed to me so real that this is the way things suddenly come out, that you're having this kind of what you feel is like a light-hearted conversation, then all of a sudden something's said that's, wow, you know. So it seemed very, very authentic to me. That's how two ladies that had known each other forever would talk. And just to go back to one of your previous points, Rob, I found it very poignant. And the paragraph where Lavinia is talking about that it's not set, and this is why I think, you know, perhaps men would enjoy it as much or appreciated it as much, because it's not about the sex, it's the hand on your back. I mean, that to me, it brings tears to your eyes. That's what you miss, is those little physical moments, but not necessarily sex, you know. And so I think that would be reach out to a lot of people.
I guess the thing I really wanted to say, I didn't think it was enough at stake for the audience to grab the audience and keep them interested, you know.
It is authentic as a conversation again, but as Mario keeps saying, not so much as a play that would grab your attention and keep you on edge through the whole thing. And again, I think that men would be less likely to get caught up in that particular conversation than women would.
I was going to say, I think what Mario's point about the plot points is what I was trying to say earlier about, I was disappointed. I thought there should be more. I like these people, but I think you could just there could be so many more things that could get in the way of their friendship. We find out Elmer is gay so quickly that there's no way for him in their lives to become a barrier to anything. You could play a lot more with that. The whole thing with the previous husband and the interest in him. You know, there are a lot of things you could explore here that could get in the way of who they are and their friendship, that they have to work at a little bit more to keep that friendship, to not let those things break that down any. But I think there's a lot of ways you could go with this. But I
noticed that early in the play, they never do ask Elmer if he's married or if he has a girlfriend or if he's gay or whatever. They just assume he's single and available, you know, which, you know, may not be a good assumption in a situation like that.
At one point, I thought for a fleeting second that Hortense was going to confess that she had had an affair with Lavinia's husband.
There's a
Lots of tension.
That's interesting.
Good idea.
Then I would have pushed her in the fountain.
Held her under.
You wouldn't have pulled her out. But that's interesting, because then could a friendship survive that?
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of different kinds of affairs. It might have been a sexless affair. You don't know when we first tell us how it went, how it was an affair. Maybe they just had lunch together once a week and she didn't know about it, but they considered it an affair.
I'm wondering, most of us are of a certain age, and whether younger people would be interested in a story like this or not.
There are a lot of us at a certain age.
Well, in the same way, you know, a lot of us interested in plays about younger people, you know. I mean, it's a world, isn't it? So
I like the fact that it was about older people.
I was gonna say
I'm sorry. I hate this Zoom thing where we don't raise our hands, because I don't like speaking over people, but I'll just finish my thought.
Yes, please.
So I thought that some of the dialogue was really wonderful. There are a few notes that didn't quite ring true, but like the love of my life, you know, her calling her friend the love of her life is not. But the dialogue was wonderful. The discussion of the names, the historicizing of names. It's so fantastic to see a piece about older women and an older man.
Mhm.
And I don't like to think about, well, would it be of interest to a younger audience? There isn't a generic audience. There isn't one audience. It doesn't matter. What matters is if with Rita is creating a play that's interesting, and then it finds the audience that it's right for. That's just what I wanted to say.
I agree
What's
with
the name of that rule where two women have to spend so many minutes talking about something other than men? That doesn't seem to work.
The
But
Bechtel,
that
named
doesn't
for
seem
Alison
to
Bechtel.
work in this
Bechtel
play
rule.
at all. All they talk about is men through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's the Bechtel rule. Yeah.
If you don't mind me interrupting, I think Joan just hit on the next question. And while we're there, let's go ahead and address this. The question is the dialogue. Is the use of language effective, realistic? Did you hear any trite words or phrases? Can we address that direct question?
Just the thing just to follow up on that, the thing that jumped out at me was, I won't let anything come between me and the love of my life. That was the one line that I thought, I've got best friends, but I don't know that I'd call them the love of my life, but they're very deep to me.
The
right?
friend of my life, yeah.
I agree. My best friend for life. Yeah.
My really great love, my friend,
Mhm.
or the friend of my life. But this is a minor thing. This is a minor thing if Rita feels like she wants to change something like that. And she may not,
And this,
it's her.
I'm sorry.
That's
As
all.
far as the women never getting together and talking about other stuff, I'm sure these two ladies have talked about other things. This is just a moment in time, and at that moment in time, Lavinia was feeling her age and thinking about these things. So that's what they talked about. This is just a moment in their lives. I don't think we have to assume that that's all they ever talk about.
What popped into my head was the gin game or Walk in the Woods, those types of plays where there's a lot of dialogue and people who have these deep relationships. So I thought it rang very true and authentic.
As did I. Rita did just a wonderful job. I believed in the characters. It was about a universal human emotions. And for people that set up some set of some clever, cutesy, pat yourself on the back set of conditions on what a play should or shouldn't be, they can get a computer and write a play. She wrote what was important to her. I applaud her for it. And putting some litmus test on what should be in it is such a hokey, phony thing to do. Write a play if you find fault with something. And then we'll have the critics play.
To jump back to the language for a minute, it's a really fun play. And I was trying to decide if it was a funny play. I wish we could have heard everybody's reactions because I laughed out loud a couple of times. And I think there's greater potential for that kind of response with a few more clever lines. So for whatever that's worth about the language.
Good. Anything else about dialogue before we move on to dramatic effect?
Well,
Okay. Go ahead.
I just got caught up for a second trying to do math to figure out how she could be the age she is now and got married. I was thinking, oh my gosh, then she had her children in her 40s. But I didn't have time to do the math, but the math seemed off to me, and probably it wasn't.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anything else about language, dialogue? All right, let's move on to the dramatic effect. Is the opening too slow or too fast? Is the play too long or too short? Is the denouement or final resolution effective? And does the script hold your interest? I know those are a lot of questions wrapped into one.
I think to reiterate, I think the dramatic effect is not enough. I think there's more you could do here to increase the tension, to make it more interesting, to bring more out of all the characters with more plot, like I keep saying plot points, but different things can happen. There's There's more here than I think that you've revealed to us.
You know, if the play were longer, I would agree with that for sure. But I have to say, from my viewpoint, as a shorter play, I was satisfied with this kind of moment in time, and I was okay with it the way it is. I think I'm more on Dennis's camp on this. But that's just one opinion. How about others? The dramatic effect. Too slow, too fast, too long, too short.
I think it was fine, but it'd be interesting to see an extension, into, for instance, when he started painting her. And I think a whole different complex interrelationships will occur when that happens. When he
Well,
starts painting her.
and there's a plot point. What if he wants to paint her nude?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
I think the relationship with the husband and Hortense's liking him from the beginning, I think that could be built up a bit, is that Hortense finds out, her friend has had him all these years, and then she finds out that Lavinia wasn't happy with him the whole time, and how sad that is when she thinks, Hortense would think, well, damn, I would have liked him more. I think that could be brought out a little more.
Okay. Well, let's move on then. How about staging? Are there any staging difficulties with this play? Riding the bike, okay, on the stage, running into the tree. Is there anything else? Is there anything that would cause a problem to stage it?
Fountain.
You've got the
Fountain what?
you've got the be able to get the bike so they're always on the left, coming the right way, and the guy's got to fall off the bike realistically on stage. That's the only staging issue.
Well, we have to fall into a fountain.
Oh yeah, you have a fountain. Yeah, yeah.
Hard.
That's a good point.
Okay.
I just have a sort of comment here. It's like you said, Rob, this is a short play. Like I can see how, everybody's saying it could be made longer and it would be a different play. I just thought for this short moment, it said a lot in a short moment. Of course, it could go further. Whether it would be as sweet as a longer play, I don't know. We'd have to wait and see.
I guess when you think about it, Lavinia has been single for 20 years or something, and they've had these old-fashioned names for all these years, and all of a sudden now, when they're 75 years old or 80 years old, it suddenly occurs to them that, oh, we have old names, and I've been single all these years. I mean, it seems like that conversation would have come up a lot sooner.
Well, it's, who knows what triggers something in people, but her granddaughter's going on about who knows what made her think about it. We all go on for ages, and then all of a sudden something, for some reason, gets.
It might be useful to have some event early on that triggers that, as you say, maybe one of the granddaughters makes a comment, or they run across somebody else with an old name or something like that, just to kind of set the stage for what's going to happen. Just a thought.
Well, she does. She references her granddaughter making that comment. One of them does, doesn't she? About the name was coming back again. Or there is a comment in there. I forget.
Yeah.
Who makes it?
That was Lavinia. That's what I thought started her off on this.
Right.
Okay, let's get to the last question then. Is the script marketable, or what specific work does it need to put it on stage?
There's a movement. It's kind of almost a hidden movement, but there's a lot of senior citizen theater in this country. In fact, the summer theater at Blackburn College in Illinois might still have, I haven't checked for a while, a separate production just for senior citizens, and people love it. So you might.
There are a couple of places in Southwest Florida that are particularly looking for plays about older women, and that have these contests.
I can clearly see this as part of a night of one acts, 2, possibly 3, because it just ran at 30 minutes. So you could have 3 short plays together, which would give it, more variety. And I think that would be a very interesting evening. It wouldn't necessarily be a geriatric play, but just part of an evening of short one acts.
We know all about that, Elizabeth, don't we?
Yes, indeed, we know. Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. That was the best experience.
Oh, good.
But if I
But
could go back,
I just want to say that I think that this could be a short film. I mean, really seeing the physicality, the women walking, the fountain. I mean, I was seeing it on film, but that was just me.
I just go back to what Joan said, though. People saying about, is it going to be like an old people's festival? Joan wrote a play, as I'm sure she remembers, some years ago that I was in, called Crab Cakes, that was about 2 old people having a relationship, had a particular slant to it. But I found that the young people enjoyed it just as much as the older ones. I think partially because it shocked them a little bit, I think, because of the nature of the sexual relationship. So I'm with the other people, with the group who said we don't need to shunt this into a sort of geriatrics theatre. I think it can be combined with other people and be completely acceptable, and accessible to any age group.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
I mean, look how popular Golden Girls was. And,
Right. That had a young audience, I'm sure. Or a varied audience. All right. Well, the discussion was fantastic. All points of view are valid, because we're gauging what you thought of the play and what your reaction was to it. And as long as you're being honest and giving your thoughts, and that's great. And I hope, and I'm sure that it will help Rita with her endeavors here to either submit it and get it on stage or make any rewrites. So with that, Rita, we'll turn it over to you.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank everyone for their time and their comments. Oftentimes when I think I'm finished, I'm not, because I get some new ideas from these discussions. This originally appeared in one of our group sessions several months ago, and it already tripled in length. I'm glad, Rob, that you think it could be even longer. I do enjoy the 2 main characters, and actually the bicyclist was the result of that first session, and I like him too. I liked the suggestion about either having the painting scene in or something, because I think that what I ended up doing was taking the scenes and the setting from the first 10-minute version of this and confining myself too much and thinking park. Okay, I'm going to put it all in the park. But I don't know if that is the right thing to do, and maybe the painting thing would be an interesting addition. One of the questions I had was whether the conflicts were clear, and so there was a lot of discussion about that. That's interesting about the film, because actually I come more out of that than out of playwriting. So, there probably are some things that would play a lot better on film. And I think that the comment that Joan made about that one line, even when I was looking it over before this evening, I thought that maybe that was a little bit too pat, because I think what I was doing is thinking already, okay, now this is at 30 minutes, I've got to wrap this thing up. So I did that, but actually then that, to Lewis's point, sort of minimizes the conflict. And I think, Mario, you said something about that too. You said it felt very light. I purposely made it feel light, but maybe there needs to be a little more going down into the depths and a little more blackness before that lightness emerges at the end. That might have happened just a little bit too fast. But at any rate, I'm very happy with your comments, and I still feel engaged by my characters and want to pursue this.
Well, we are grateful that you brought it to us. And congratulations to Rita. Also, I'd like to thank the actors for a fantastic job tonight.
And fabulous. I love it.
Yeah, can I just say some closing remarks? I actually have a performance I have to go watch at 7:30. I want to congratulate, thank you for inviting me in. I want to congratulate Rita because there's a lot in this that's beautiful. And there is actually an advocacy group that I'm involved with called Honor Roll. And it's for women playwrights who are 40 and over. And we are kicking ass and taking names. We're getting a lot of attention. In fact, there's an anthology that's going to come out of some of the work of women that have been in the group. But I want to congratulate you because I think that there's some things that are wonderful. And I agree with some of the comments about deepening the tension and that. But these are technical things that you can solve. I think you had some wonderful actors, and I want to thank you for your work. And Rob for just facilitating a great conversation. So before I leave, I just wanted to do jazz hands, which is a language way of saying congratulations and thank you.
Well, we're so glad you're here with us. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
And so also a couple more thanks real quick. Robert, thanks for recording. Dennis, thank you for setting up the link for tonight. Richard, thanks for coordinating everything, and everyone on the steering group that does their part. So 2 weeks from tonight, I believe, Richard, is our next reading. Is that correct?
Playwright named Von Rico. Does anybody know him, her? The play is called, I think it's a screenplay called Dante's Icebox. And I think bits and pieces of it. I mean, we got the script and I set it up. I'll need to get in touch with Von Rico and make sure she's still on board. So
yeah,
we should be rolling. And I can't remember. We've got the next couple meetings are lined up, and hopefully everyone, we're tentatively planning to meet in person again in July. Your fingers crossed.
And if possible, we may not only meet in person, but also offer this Zoom option for people that can't make it up the steps at Big Daddy's. So, I'd be kind of interested just to see a thumbs up. Who's looking forward to going back to Big Daddy's and will be looking forward to the live things, and who's not ready yet? A thumbs down doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but just let me know if you're not ready to go back to a in-person meeting.
The only thing about Big Daddy's is you can't play games on your phone when the play's boring.
Well, the other thing about Big Daddy is that people who live in Oklahoma can't see it.